the type of distal radius fracture and surgery that you have can really affect how you're recovering, because not all fractures are the same and not all surgeries are the same. So I hear a lot when people are like, well, I had this break, how come someone got better faster and I'm still struggling with months later? I'm sharing this with you because a patient of mine recently came in a few weeks ago. She is very very active. She's in her 50s. I was going to say young because I think that's young. I'm 50 or almost 50, but she's really active, and she fell back in January or February. We are now in June. So we're talking about 6 months later, and she's like, why is my wrist still so stiff and so painful? So one of the very first things I asked her was what type of fracture she had. We have what's called, I'm going to simplify it, but there's two types of fractures. You can have an intra-articular fracture or an extra-articular fracture. Let me share what that means, because that really plays a role in terms of your recovery and what to expect. And then I'm going to share some tips on what I'm doing with her. So if that resonates with you, maybe this video can help you. Let me pause. I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Huang. I'm an occupational therapist and certified hand therapist. And here at my clinic at Hands On Therapy Services in Miami, we see a lot of different hand injuries and surgeries. And a lot of times people get really frustrated with how come they're not getting better. So if you injure your wrist, right, we have two major bones. We have our radius and our ulna. And then on top of that, we have 8 little wrist bones, right? So we have one row here, one row here. Now what happens here is if you break inside the bone, you have what they call an extra-articular fracture. Those types of fractures tend to be a little bit easier to recover from. They put in plate and screw, and you have your typical surgery where they put that in. Now, if you have what's called an intra-articular fracture, right? So it breaks into your joint, right? That type of surgery is much harder. It takes longer to recover. So when my patient came in to me and she was 6 months out of surgery, she was already going for therapy somewhere else, and she felt like she was stagnating. She wasn't making any progress and had already been 6 months. So she came here and she was like, why is it taking so long? And one of the very first questions is I was like, do you have x-rays? Can I take a look at it? Because I think most people aren't aware if they have an intra or an extra articular. So one of my things to determine like, hey, what's going on is when you have a break and you have surgery, imagine you have a break, right? And sometimes it's twisted, sometimes it's pretty big. Your doctor, your hand surgeon is going to put everything back together. They try to put all the broken pieces back together as in alignment as possible. But what happens is when you break inside that joint, sometimes it's not as aligned as it could be. And that's just one of the risks. That's just what happens with fractures, right? You didn't mean to fall, you didn't mean for this to happen, but sometimes falls, happen and you break inside the joint. When you break inside the joint, it doesn't mean you can't get full recovery. It just means sometimes it can be a little bit slower. Sometimes it can be a little bit more difficult. And yes, sometimes you can't get all that motion back. But how do you know if you're going to be able to get all of that back or not, right? So that's going to be key. Number 2, after I asked her what kind of fracture she had and I took a look at her x-rays, then I was like, tell me a little bit about what you're doing, because you already have a difficult fracture. You want to make sure you're doing the right kind of therapy, right? Doesn't that always matter? If your car broke down on the side of the road and they went and took it for a car wash, you're not doing the right thing to fix the car, right? So it's the same kind of idea. Yes, she's going to therapy. Yes, they're removing her fingers. Yes, they're removing her wrist. But once you get past that, like certain phase, by 6 months, you should have really good motion. You should be able to put weight through your wrist, right? The whole idea of getting your wrist motion back is not just to get your wrist motion back. It's to be able to put weight through your hand, right? You want to be able to put weight through your hand. You want to be able to push yourself up off the bed, off a chair, off a floor. You want to be able, let's face it, you want to be able to wipe your ass, right? So you need to be able to have wrist flexion. So you want to be able to get to the back. You want to be able to get to your belt. You want to be able to get to your bra, right? That isn't just a wrist problem. It is a wrist problem, it is an elbow problem, and it is a shoulder problem. So what happens when you have chronic wrist issues after a break or surgery, you can't just think, oh, I have to move this. You have to think, I have to move this, this, and this. That is the job of your therapist to help you to manage, to treat, and then to show you what to do, right? So not only are we working on wrist motion, we need the wrist. This bone that you broke starts up here and comes all the way down. And it sits on top of the ulna. See this bone right here? This is your ulna. Sometimes this bone gets broken, and majority of the time, if it's a little chip, they're not going to fix it. It doesn't really get in the way of your recovery. It's like a neither here nor there type of problem. But what happens is it makes everything more swollen and painful. So it makes it really hard for you to turn your palm up and all the way down, right? So once you have a hard time turning your palm all the way up and down, and then you have a hard time moving your wrist up and down, the muscles that move your wrist, the muscles that help you turn your palm up and down, they start in the elbow. And so if you're going to therapy and all they're teaching you, this is what they were teaching her to do. I don't know if they were teaching her other things. I'm sure they were. The only thing that she was doing was pushing her wrist down. The most important thing is actually to pull your wrist up. But it's really hard to do all by yourself because your arm is broken, right? So normally if you have a knee or an ankle problem, you have two arms to fix it, right? When you have a hand and arm problem, you're down to one hand and arm to fix it. This is why it's so important to find a great hand therapist, a certified hand therapist, an occupational therapist, physical therapist, that they specialize in hand and arm injuries to be able to help you not only recover here, but help you to move from your elbow to your shoulder. So one of the first things that I looked at was to help her move from her wrist. So her muscles on this side, because this is the muscles that pull your wrist down. These are the muscles that pull your fingers down. These muscles, your flexor muscles, they tend to be much stronger than these muscles over here, which are called your extensor muscles, right? To be able to open your fingers, to be able to bring your wrist. These muscles are much stronger and you use them all the time. So what happens is there becomes a muscle imbalance. These get tighter, 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 and these get weaker, 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 right? And when you have an injury and you can't move, your muscles kind of start protecting your body, starts using it the way it can. So your wrist starts to come down, you start to compensate with your elbow, and you start to compensate with your shoulder. If you can't turn your palm up and down, one of the things that we often see in therapy is you're going to compensate. Now, I'm exaggerating the movement, but this is usually what happens. So then the shoulder gets involved and it doesn't work the way it's supposed to. Number one, you want to learn how to properly stretch your wrist so that you're not compensating with your whole body. Now, one of the things that I do is the scar is right here. So I will shorten the scar. So put the wrist into some flexion. See if I can show you. And then I want to work the scar. And I actually want to move, you see this bone right here? This is a bone that's wrapped in a tendon. And I want to shift that wrist like this. And I want it to be able to go side to side, but I'm just using it to shift to kind of stretch some of the bones. They're called carpal bones. That's your actual wrist bone. She actually had, it's not uncommon when you have an intra-articular fracture or a fracture that's a little bit more complicated for them to do a carpal tunnel release. So now you got scar on top of scar. So it can be really tough. So you want to work the scar, right, can be really stuck right here so that you can loosen up your wrist. Now, one of the things that I like to do is I like to clasp the hands here, and then I'm teaching her how to stretch her wrist going back, right? Going back. The second way I like to stretch the wrist is also to stretch the wrist and the shoulder all at the same time. So when you do it like this, and you might have seen this, there's nothing wrong with this one. You put your hands together, your elbows on the table, and you slide all the way down. They call this a prayer stretch, so that your hand that isn't broken will help your hand that is broken to come all the way down. The problem is when you're really stiff right here, you're going to tend to push back, right? And you're only working the wrist. My favorite way to stretch the wrist is actually to find a wall. I call these wall slides. Now, so one of the reasons why I love using a wall is because a wall has no give to it. Your hand has give to it. So when you are feeling stiff right here, your hand just gives in to how stiff you are, right? The wall won't. So what you want to do is you want to put your hands on the wall. The palm needs to touch the wall. You're going to slide all the way up to stretch your shoulders, and you're going to slide all the way down to stretch your wrist. I'm going to turn to the wall. I'm going to show you, right? Your hands on the wall like this. You're going to slide all the way up. You can stretch your shoulders a little bit. And when you slide all the way down, you want to keep your palm on the wall. And look what happens to your wrist. You get that nice wrist stretch, right? So it's a really great way to incorporate your wrist, your elbow, and your shoulder. Anytime I'm working with someone with a distal radius fracture, I make sure the shoulder is working, the elbow's working, and then the wrist is working. If you're not paying attention to all three parts, the wrist somehow just doesn't get as good as it needs to get. Because to be able to turn your palm up and down is an elbow and a wrist component. Like you need both to be able to make your wrist move really well. You want to be able to, with your palms down, bring your wrist up. You want to be able to turn your palm up and bring your wrist down and up. Like, we need our hands for everything. To be able to carry something, you need your palms to come up, and you need your shoulders to be able to go to the back of your bra, your belt, or for, hygiene purposes. Look at my shoulder, look at my elbow, look at my wrist, right? So it requires the whole arm. So make sure that you understand a little bit more about your distal radius fracture so that you can discuss it with your therapist and figure out the best plan to make sure you're not just paying attention to where the surgery is, but how the whole arm moves so that you can get full recovery and be able to do everything that you can with that wrist. Once we get better wrist motion and better control and strength at the shoulder, then we can start working on putting weight through it. Otherwise, you're gonna feel like you're constantly always tight, all right? Or that you're constantly not getting enough improvement after your injury and surgery. If you've had a distal radius fracture and you need my help, give my clinic a call. We're located in Miami, Florida, hands-on therapy services, and I'm going to include all my links below. All right, thanks for watching.